Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bravo 22 Live here on the Bravo 22 YouTube channel. This show and this channel is all made possible by the Royal British Legion and the Drive Project. Today's show is about devising stories through sound. Please take part and you will learn how to engage your brain. You're going to need a pen and 3 sheets of paper, so nip off now and get those. I'll keep talking. I would like to give a heartfelt thanks to Bravo 22 for this amazing opportunity to present Bravo 22 Live. My name is Steve Crockett, otherwise known as Sugar-Free Steve, for reasons I can't go into right now. I found out about Bravo 22 through a wonderful organisation called Decorum NI. Decorum NI secured a place on a Bravo 22 theatre weekend in Portrush, Northern Ireland for me. The thought of it scared me to death, but I went. It was wonderful. I learned so much and met many amazing people who shared their story, whilst also learning to act in another story. It was truly inspiring. Since then, I have worked with many different artists who are at the top of their fields and totally dedicated to their craft. I have taken part in wonderful discussions about works of art. I have created poetry, written some jokes, and I've also written a fairy tale about honey badgers. I have learned about acting and how to create sound effects, which is also known as the art of Foley. One of my personal highlights was making Joe Brand chuckle on a recent Q&A. You can check out that video if you like. Comedy is one of my favorite art forms, and I know what you're thinking. I really should tell my face this. I cannot imagine life now without Bravo 22. And I would like to personally encourage veterans and their families who wish to engage their minds and their hearts on a whole new level, to start a journey and a new chapter in their life. You will get back your voice and you may even hear it for the first time. So please tell all your military friends and family about Bravo 22 Live. Hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and share across all social media platforms. Now, it's time to get on with the show. My co-presenter this morning on Bravo 22 Live is the incredible Kate Beales. It is an honour for me personally to present Bravo 22 with Kate. Kate is a wonderful person and she is at the top of her game. She is an amazing person to learn from and has shown me the incredible amount of physical engagement and emotional endurance that is required just to deliver a few minutes of dialogue on stage and to camera. Kate's motivational skills are second to none. Her patience, her kindness, and her love for people and their story is helping many people on the recovery path through trauma. Kate has given me the greatest encouragement to express myself through the arts, and just recently we were working together on a fairy tale about honey badgers. Who would have thunk it? So without further ado, it is my great pleasure to introduce the incredible Kate Beales.
Yay, thank you so much, the incredible Sugar-Free Steve. Thank you for that lovely introduction. And hi, everybody. How lovely to be back here again. This is our last of these theatre sessions. It's great to see you and welcome back. So I've been thinking about all the work that we've done over these sessions. We've been doing Shakespeare. We've been looking at how we write and create poetry, script, stories. And it struck me that we've been thinking a lot about that traditional way of going into a rehearsal room for actors to make theatre, where a writer has created a script. But that's not the only way that actors create theatre. Sometimes they go into the rehearsal room without a script, just them and maybe an idea or a theme, and they devise the story from scratch. So I thought maybe today we could think a little bit about what happens if you haven't got a story? What happens if you haven't got a script? Where would we even start? Maybe there's a group of actors together. Now, we can't all be together in the same room, so the process will be a little bit different from if we were actually in rehearsals. But in some ways, it's going to be very similar, because what we're going to do is think about working through the senses, not an idea and an intellectual starting point, but just what happens if we play, let go, have some fun, and see how the senses take us on a journey into a story. In a moment, I'm going to start. I hope everyone's got about 3 scraps of paper, ideally, or one big enough that you can split it into 3, and a pen or a pencil. And before we start, Stevie, is there anybody we need to say good morning to or shout out to here?
Yeah, there is indeed, Kate. Morning to Paul, Ian, Dean, Lorraine, and Mick, who've all tuned in this morning.
Yeah, great to know you're there. Thank you, Stevie. And I have a shout out this morning too, actually. It's to my friend and colleague, Sarah Argent, who is a theatre director in Wales. And she introduced me to this exercise a very long time ago. And I've tweaked it and changed it and made it my own, as with all creative practice. But we need to thank Sarah for originally giving me the idea that this would be fun. So what we're going to do first is let go of any ideas of story making whatsoever. I'm just going to ask you to listen to some music. In a moment, we're going to play 3 pieces of music with a little space between them. And as you listen, could you please just have your pen and your paper and just make marks on the paper, depending on what the music tells you. Just to be really clear, I'm not asking you to make a drawing or create an object of any kind. I'm just asking you to literally make marks. Here are some marks I made earlier. They're not really anything. It just, can you see that? It just, actually, it turned into stars maybe a bit in the end, but it was just scribble. If you feel like scribbling, scribble. If the music inspires you just to put 1 dot on the paper at some point, that is fine too. Nothing is right, but you're certainly not trying to make a drawing of any kind. Do whatever you want. Stevie, are you ready? Have you got pen and paper?
I'm indeed.
You're all set. Okay, great. So have a listen to this first piece of music and just let the pen do whatever it wants. Could we have that first track, please? Okay, so who knows what randomness you've drawn? Stevie, what have you got? Have a look and see what's on your paper.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. I'm not going to make any comments. I'm not going to tell you what I think that looks like at all. It's just completely random. Thank you. Now we're going to have a second piece of music. So another space on your paper or a second piece of paper. Pens poised. Everybody ready? Let's go for track 2, please. Okay, thank you. It's very, very different quality. I found the pen making lots of long lines on that one. What about you, Stevie? What did you do?
I have this.
Oh, okay, it's a much more enclosed little shape. Thank you very much. And we have one more piece of music. So in a moment, be ready with your pen and your paper. Third and last piece of music. Could we please hear track 3? Okay, thank you. So track 3, really different again. I'm slightly worried that what I've drawn reflects what's going on inside my brain a little bit. But there we go. What about you, Stevie? What have you got?
I have this.
Okay, nice. Thank you. So we've got 3 completely different pieces of paper with random marks. Who knows what you've got? Anybody got any questions or thoughts around that? Before we go on, Stevie, does anyone have any questions?
Just a question from myself. What about using other colors? Can you use a couple of colors in the drawing?
What a great question. I think at this stage where everything is up for grabs and everything's really free, you should use whatever you want. If you want to use color, if you want to turn the paper upside down, you should. And that would be beautiful. They'll turn into really lovely abstract artworks of their own right if you start playing around with them like that. So thank you. Yeah. Did you use color out of curiosity?
No, I just use black. I'm simple with my colors.
Yeah, just black. Funnily enough, I had some colored pens. I didn't use them this time. And I'm just seeing that Graham remembers doing something similar in Manchester with Al on the acrylics course. Yes, absolutely. These kind of exercises that stimulate the senses are being used by artists in different ways all over the world. I'll be curious to see if on the course you did with Al, Graham, whether things continue in the same direction or whether you took a different route. So let us know as we go on. So you have 3 pieces of paper with 3 different sets of marks. Could you now take a look at your paper, and you can turn it around. There's no right way up. Have a look at it from whatever angle suits you and see if you can see in it any object, anything. You know how sometimes you look up at the clouds and you go, whoa, that cloud is shaped like a camel, or whatever it might be. That's actually a quote from Hamlet, by the way. When you see a shape in the clouds or in these marks in any way, could you just sort of, swiftly with your pen, just turn it into the thing that you are seeing? So if what you see is a fish on a bicycle riding up a mountain, just make just tidy that image up so that that's what it looks like. If you see a smiley face, if you see a dog, doesn't matter what it is. If you don't see something in every image, that's fine too. If you've got 3 and you can see 3 different things, great. But if you can just see 1 or 2, work with what you've got there. Work with what you can see. That last one I showed you, I'm now seeing some music, I think. It's turning into notes. Whatever you find, whatever you see, just take a moment or 2. And as you're doing it, if you do start to see something, it'd be great to hear from you. Let us know. Type into chat, yay, I've got a cat. I found a cat. Or whatever else you think you might find. How are you doing, Stevie? We'll take a tiny bit more time, but where are you at?
I have two. Some strange creature in a woolly hat. It looks like a crazy duck.
Fab. I love the crazy duck. Good.
Looks like well,
You going to make it to the third?
it's a hill.
Great. I'll give you a bit of time for one more as I draw a shark in the middle of the ocean. And lots of smaller fishes running away from it. Lots of shark teeth in a very swirly sea. Oh, somebody's got a tent, a heart, and 2 fried eggs on toast. And Luke has got a man holding a rock at arm's length. Love it. You might have to take a photo of that and send it to us, Luke. I'd quite like to see a man holding a rock at arm's length. That's so fabulously specific. Oh, and I've just spotted, I'm just going to take one last minute because I've just spotted a little man. He's quite small and he's got curly hair and glasses. So I'm just going to finish making that. And quite messy eyebrows. Okay. Oh, Sally's got zigzags, a frown, and clouds. Lovely. Thank you. Hooray. Stevie, how are you doing? Have you got a third one by any chance?
Yeah. Well, there's a bit of a profile here, but I think it looks more like a ploughed field with a fence at the top there.
Okay, cool. So you have, remind me, you've got a ploughed field.
A hill.
A hill.
Okay. And sort of crazy duck.
And a crazy duck. Huh, okay. There's quite a kind of outdoor theme going on there. So hopefully most of you have got 3 images. I've got some music, a shark at sea, and a man with curly hair and glasses. We have 3 things. Now we're going to think a little bit about stories, because of course stories have 3 things as well. Very roughly, stories have beginning, middle, and end. Every story has that, however long or short. Is there a way to take the 3 objects that you've drawn, or the 3 things that you've got, and turn them into the beginning, middle, and end of a story? Or use them to stimulate the beginning, middle, and end of a story? Now, of course, if you think that all your 3 objects belong at the beginning, that's fine. There's no rules to this. But just very roughly, how about thinking about using them for a beginning, middle, and end? And to give you an example, earlier we were playing around and we came up with a woolly jumper, a dog, and a flock of seagulls. And we decided that the dog went for a walk in his beautiful new woolly jumper, and a flock of seagulls came and pooped all over it. And he was sad. And that was the end of the story. So it can be as simple as that. Or it can be way more complex if you want it to be complex and you've got time. But it can be absolutely as simple as that. And as you're doing that, is there anything else going on in the chat or any questions, Stevie, that we need to be aware of?
Yeah, Ian Rudge makes an interesting point. He says, it seems the less you think about it, the better the art is. And he sees in his flowers, river, and a mountain.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, and thank you. That's such a great point. All this is about letting go of us trying to make something or trying to force something, thinking stories have to be like this or pictures have to be like that. We're working through the senses here, and the senses and our kind of body's natural intelligence is full of brilliant ideas if we can only give them a chance to come out. Sometimes when we work just through the mind, we narrow down our options, and there's an awful lot more going on in there if we let it out. So, quick question here. Oh, I'm seeing as well that Lorraine got a frog. Hooray. I wonder if it's finding its way into a story. So, Steve, do you have a story for us? Do you have a beginning, a middle, and end that we can talk about?
I have a story about a crazy duck.
Yeah.
One day woke up on the top of his hill, and as he looked out, he noticed Below him, there was this lovely ploughed field, and as ducks like water, he decided to move there because it was wetter than his hill. He wasn't really that crazy a duck.
Wasn't it? What a great punchline as well. He wasn't that crazy a duck. So there you go. The story can be that simple. With time, we can make much more of it. We could ask questions. Why was the duck living on a hill? Is he a lonely duck? Is he a sad duck? Does everyone think he's crazy? What was it that took the duck there in the first place? What prompted him to look over the edge and see the ploughed field? We can ask questions. We can take the story further if we want to. Or we can just go, you know what? That is perfect. Let's keep it that simple with that beautiful punchline. That's it. Anyone else got a story that they can type very briefly into chat for us? I'm looking at my story while giving you a chance to type into chat if you want to. I have got a furious shark who roamed the waters and terrorized the fish. And one day a man was watching from the shore, and he saw how the shark was ruining everything for anybody who wanted to swim, including the local fish. And he was a musician, and he played music to the shark. And the music made the shark feel so much happier that it didn't need to go terrorizing the fish anymore. And whenever the music played, everybody could just swim in the beautiful sea. So I guess I'm feeling optimistic today, and like everything is possible and that we can take things in any direction. So I'm going to check back in with you, Stevie. Any stories coming up?
Okay, we've got one from Sally, and it says, my ram has found a staircase and wonders what they are. He walks down them and all the sheep follow him behind. He finds a man with a frown under a grey cloud. The ram gives the man a zigzag wand, actually, to move the clouds. Lovely. That's pretty cool.
Great, yeah. So we have magic. We have a zigzag wand. What a beautiful thing! And I love this image of the man with all the sheep walking down behind him. That's really lovely. Thank you. Thank you very much. So if I were working with a group of actors in a room, I might be asking them, as I said, to make the marks on a piece of paper, then pass it to somebody else to look and see what pictures they see in it, and then pass the pictures on to a group of other people who would invent the story, so that by the end, everything is owned and shared by everybody, and everyone's seeing not only what's going on for them, but what's going on for the other people in the room too. Do we have another story, Stevie?
Yeah, indeed. From Lorraine. Freddie the Frog was lost in the mountain range. One night, a big storm came and washed Freddie back to his loving family.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. So again, what we've got there in that story with the storm is we've got conflict. And, we know that all the best stories need some tension or some conflict, which either gets resolved and that's, happy ending, or it doesn't. And that's when we have tragedy. But we need something terrible to happen, or to feel that there's some stakes for the protagonist in the story in some way, if we're going to really feel the tension of the story or get engaged with it. So a big storm at the heart that's washing Freddie out, or Freddie being lost, is an incredibly exciting starting point for a story. But it's going to have a happy ending. He gets back home. Hooray. Great. Anybody got any questions around that, about how else we might use it? What else is possible? Stevie, can you think you asked that great question about, can we use color? Can you think of any other questions like that? Anything else you might like to use or try?
I was wondering, what about if you use different colored backgrounds, different colored papers? Could that work?
Oh, it'd be beautiful, wouldn't it? You could layer things up so that you've got, as you say, you've got the backgrounds to the story, the sets, and that's going to have a huge effect on the atmosphere and on the mood of the characters in the story. There's quite a bit going on around weather here. We've had the frown and the clouds. We've had the storm that came and washed Freddie the Frog, all these things. So the more we can layer in atmospheres through color, through shadows, through different feelings and qualities for the story, the more we can build on it and turn it into something that feels like it's, almost a show in its own right. Great. Thank you. Feels to me like we are just about at the end of the process, unless there's anybody who's got any other questions or any other shout outs. How was it, Stevie? I'm going to ask you that now. How was it to go through that process and do that story?
I actually found it quite a relaxing process, and it's interesting because as I've been learning to write, I struggle sometimes to sit down and think of things, but that actually helps the thinking process and the creative process.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, because we are unlocking part of the unconscious brain here. We're not working or feeling pressure to try and make something up. We're just going to let it come. And, we all grew up with stories, right? So you have loads of stories inside you. Sometimes they don't come out when we worry about the product, when we worry that it's got to be correct and we can't start until we've got the great idea. Whereas in a process like this, we just start and the idea follows. And you know what? When we're in a rehearsal room, if this idea isn't quite strong enough, that's fine. It can be a starting point. We keep going with it. I heard a great story once from a friend of mine who's an actor who worked always with texts that have been written, with a writer who'd created a script for them and they came into the room and started. And she found herself one day in a devising process with a very experienced director and actor who's done this for many, many, many years. And she came home from the first day of rehearsal and said, "It was so freaky. We were talking, we were trying to come up ideas. And this guy just kept climbing in and out of a box. He wouldn't say why. He'd just, every now and again, he'd just go off and climb in and out of a box. He just had this idea that maybe there was something in that. And it just took everybody's attention away from just going, what should we do? What should we do? Okay, what's it about? Oh, I don't know. No, not this, not that. He just climbed in and out of the box to see what would happen. And sooner or later, when the show was formed, actually the box and somebody climbing in and out of the box became part of the story. Any last questions, Stevie, before we need to wrap up?
Yeah, we've got one more question from Sally Ann. Do you think different types of music will affect the drawings?
Oh, that's a really good question. They'll certainly affect the marks. I don't know about you, Sally, but I found that what I was drawing was really different for each different piece of music. And I guess that will affect the stories, but not necessarily in a kind of thematic way. I used the Pirates of the Caribbean theme tune once to do this. And, everybody did kind of big, swirly shapes because the music is exactly like that. But then they all saw really different things in when it came to making the drawings. So I think that's that point. That's when everything gets really different and divergent. But for sure, the more different the music is, the more possibilities we have. Once we, if we have a load of really varied starting points, then we will get loads and loads of different sets of marks on paper, and it will all go from there. So I think it's just about time to wrap up. Stevie, thank you so much. Thank you for doing everything, for coming up with drawings, and thank you to everyone who's sent in their ideas for stories. If you want to take those stories and, embellish them or not, or take a photo of the drawings that go with them and send them in to us, we would love to see them. So thank you, everybody, very, very much. And Stevie, over to you to wrap us up.
Thank you, Kate, so much. That was a very intoxicating process. I've got chills and they're multiplying. And a big thank you to everyone out there who took part in today's show. I personally have had a lot of fun. Your questions and comments were great, and we hope you enjoyed joining in. In the comments section below, there are links to more resources about today's topic. There's also a feedback form, which we really would like you all to complete so we can continue to improve Bravo 22. Now, just some important information before you go. This Thursday at 11 a.m. on Bravo 22 sees the season's creative session finale presented by Al Johnson and Lorraine Smith. This season-ending session will be on art and music, so please don't miss it. It will be fascinating. So that's this Thursday, the 20th of August at 11 a.m. right here on Bravo 22. Although this is our last week of Bravo 22 live workshops until October, we are hosting the first ever online showcase on Thursday, the 27th of August at 7:30 p.m. It will be streamed live on this YouTube channel. This will be a celebration of all that's been achieved on Bravo 22 Live over the past 20 weeks. And we would really love it if you all join us for this event. It's a history maker because it's the first time Bravo 22 has hosted such an event. So come witness history in the making. It's Thursday, the 27th of August at 7:30 p.m. Bravo 22 Live will return to this channel in October. So now, remember, please hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and share across all social media platforms. Or consider making a few flyers. All help is greatly received. Our objective is to reach 250 subscriptions, and we currently have 235. So please raise your fingers, depress your mouse on the appropriate icon, and that's it for now. Many thanks, and have an incredible day. And for those about to talk, we salute you.